Bruchim haboim. Welcome everyone. We're about to begin Be'ezras Hashem together on Daf Kuf Mem Hey Amid Aleph. 3 lines from the bottom. Our Gemara concludes its discussion of Schitas Peiros with the following statement. Om Rav Chia bar Ashi Omarav. Dovar Torah eino chayv ela al drisas zeisim va'anovim bilvad. The only time a person will be chayiv chatos, a malacha deraisa of Schitas Peiros, is when he's going to squeeze either grapes or olives, because those are the things that are typically used for their juices, and therefore when one extracts either the oil from the olive or extracts the juice from the grape, that will be then a malacha of mefarik on Shabbos. V'chein tani debei Menashe davar Torah eino chayv ela al drisas zeisim va'anovim bilvad. And similarly, the house of Menashe also taught that midiraisa, one is only chayiv for squeezing grapes or olives. Ve'ein eid mipi eid kosher ella le'edus ishu bilvad. And another statement that he made, unrelated to Hilchos Shabbos, is that we do not accept eidus, that is an aid from the hearing it of another aid. One witness hears something that another witness had told him. We don't accept that testimony. Normally it has to be an eyewitness. Except for Eidus Isha Bilvad. Chazal were concerned that a woman would be an aguna. She'll be left without being able to then remarry if her husband had died and nobody witnessed how he died. Therefore, if one person witnessed it and he told it to somebody else, lefitumoi, so indeed we can accept also the Eidus of the second one. We accept Eidus of Eid Mipi Eid Akula. On the top of Kuf Mem Hey Amid Beis. Iboiluhu, the Gemara asked the following question. Eid Mipi Eid Le'edus Bechar Mahu. Do we accept Eid Mipi Eid in regards to Becharos? Now, the typical scenario is that if a person has a Bechar in his flock, he's to give it to the Kohen, and is going to be then offered on the Mizbeach and the Kohen will then get whatever the parts are then given to him after the Korban. However, if the Bechor that was given to the Kohen has a mum that's kavua, then it cannot be brought on the Mizbeach, whereby it's given to the Kohen to use for his personal usage. However, there was a concern that there was unscrupulous types of Kohanim who would make a mum, which is of course usher to do, and they would make this mum so that they would get benefit from these animals and wouldn't have to be brought on the Mizbeach. So can a person then have eidus of eid mipi eid in regards to Becharos? That's the question. Rav Ami Osir, Rav Asi Shori. It's a machlokes. Rav Ami says it's Osir. You need to have 2 eidim that testify that it's a mum kavur that fell on this animal. Whereas Rav Asi said it's mutter to use an eid mipi eid. Omar le Rav Ami le Rav Asi. Rav Ami then turns to Rav Asi who said it's mutter. V'hotana de be Menashe ein eid mipi eid kosher elo le'edus isha bilvad. He taught that we only say eid mipi eid in regards to the eidus of an isha because of the concern of an iguna. Eima le'edus she'aisha kshera la bilvad. No, what he meant when he taught this statement was only edus that an isha would be kosher to give. And therefore, since a woman would be kosher to give the edus of Becharos, then we can also accept mipi eid. Rav Yemar achshar eid mipi eid lebechor. It says that Rav Yemar, he was machshir using eid mipi eid for a bechor. Kori ale Miremar called him Yemar Shori Bechura. Yemar, he said it in a derogatory way, Yemar, the one who is matir bechoros. The hilchasa, indeed, the halacha is eid mipi eid kosher lebechor. And eid mipi eid is kosher also for bechor, as Rav Yemar indeed paskind. The Gemara now quotes the latter part of the Mishnah that states, Chalos dvash. Of course, one cannot be roisek, merasek, the chalos dvash on Shabbos. That would be an isser of mefarek. But what about if it was risek before Shabbos? So our Mishnah has stated that indeed, chalos dvash that were reseg before Shabbos, those honey that comes outside of the honeycombs on Shabbos are asurin according to Tanna Kama. Rabbi Eliezer is matir, so it's a machlokes. Says the Gemara, ki osa Rav Oshaya ben Neherdo, osa va'aisi masnisa biyadei. He brought the following teaching in his hand. The following brisa stating zeisim va'anovim sheriskon me'erev Shabbos v'yotzu me'atzman asurin. Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Shimon matirin. It states over here, he brought a teaching that when it comes to zeisim and anovim that were already merusak before Shabbos, those oil or those juices that ooze out on Shabbos, it says they're also according to the Tanna Kama, and according to Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Shimon, they're mutter. You're coming to teach this teaching just to add another gavra, another Tana that holds that it's mutter. We already know this teaching from our Mishnah, that there's a machlokes according to the Tanna Kama. It's also according to Rabbi Eliezer, it's mutter. Because Rabbi Shimon also is matir, that's why you're teaching this teaching. Omar le Abaye, Tuva kamashma. Abaye says, no, he's teaching a lot by teaching the case of Zeisim va'anovim, as opposed to our Mishnah was talking about chalos dvash. Because if I only taught the Mishnah of chalos dvash, hava amina hasam hu demiikaro uchla uvesoif uchla. I would think because before, when it was a honeycomb, it was oichel, and now it's also oichel. Then that's where Rabbi Eliezer's matter alone. Aval hocha demiikaro oichla uchla vesoif mashke emaloi. But if it begins oichel and it then becomes mashke, like zeisim va'anovim, maybe there I would say that it's osir. Even Rabbi Eliezer would agree that it's osir. Kamash Milan, Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Shimon say that it's mutter. Says the Mishnah, Kol shebo mechamin me'erev Shabbos. Our Mishnah now turns to another subject entirely, a subject of bishul on Shabbos, in halacha in regards to bishul. Kol shebo bechamin me'erev Shabbos, all that comes from chamin, hot water that's yad soledes bo, and it was already cooked in this yad soledes bo on erev Shabbos, then shorin oisod bechamin b'Shabbos, then one is permitted to then soak it in the chamin, even from a kli rishon that was taken off the fire on Shabbos, because ein bishul achar bishul. V'kol sheloi bo bechamin me'erev Shabbos, and that which was not cooked in Yad Soledes Bo before Shabbos, then madichin oisoy bechamin b'Shabbos. One may only pour water from a kli sheni on Shabbos, but he certainly cannot then be shore even in a kli sheni, because that would appear, even if a kli sheni is not mevashel, but it would appear that he is mevashel, that he's cooking. So therefore the Chacham said it's osir. Chutz, the exception is min hamaliach hayoshon v'kulias ha'ispanin, a salty fish that has been salted already a previous 1 year before, or a certain type of fish from Spain, shehadachasen zuhi gemar malachtan, by then pouring chamin, even from a kli sheni, that is the gemar malacha for these fish, making it edible. Ask the Gemara right away, Kigoin Mai, what are we talking about over here? That which was cooked in chamin, that was Yad Soledes before Shabbos, that now on Shabbos you can go ahead and also then put in chamin, because even a kli rishon is not going to be bishul, because ain't bishul achar bishul. Omer Rav Safra could go in Tarnagloisa to Rabbi Abba, like the Tarnagol, the hen of Rabbi Abba. V'omer Rav Safra zimno chada ikloy lahasom. One time I went there and they fed me this tarnagola when I went to Rabbi Abba's house. Rabbi Abba the Ashkin Chamra Bartlosetarpi. If he did not feed me, give me to drink wine that's 3 years old wine, then isnasi, I would be so disgusted, I would get sick and vomit from such a tarnagoylasa. Rabbi Yochanan Raik Mekutach de Bavloi. Rabbi Yochanan was remembering the dish called the kutach, the Babylonian kutach, and he spit when he was remembering such a dish. Rav Yosef was offended that Rabbi Yochanan from Eretz Yisrael was then making light of Babylonians. And Rav Yosef said, "V'leirok anon mitarganalosa de Rabbi Abba." We would also, from Belleville, we would also become disgusted from the Tarnagol of Rabbi Abba of Eretz Yisrael. V'od, not only that, Omer Rav Gaza. Rav Gaza said, "Zimna chade iklois lahasam." One time I went over there to Eretz Yisrael, va'aviditz kutach de Bavloi, and I prepared a kutach de Bavloi above Bavel, where I'm from. She'ilu minei kol brichi ma'arova. All of those people who were sick, they came and asked me to have part of that dish. Those in Eretz Yisrael. And therefore, you see that they appreciated the kutach ha-bavli. Says the Gemara Vayter, according to the Mishnah, kol shelo bo mechamin, all that which was not cooked in chamin be'erev Shabbos cannot be go ahead and cooked on Shabbos. Except what you can do is then pour from a kli sheni. The Gemara says, Heidiach mai, Rav Yosef, what is the din of Heidiach? If a person was madiach onto one of these fish, either a maliach hayoshon or kulias hasiponim, what would be the din? Rav Yosef, Heidiach chayev chatos, one who poured even from a kli sheni chamin onto these fish would be chayev chatos. It would be a form of bishul, because they're kalei bishul, these type of fish. Omra mar barei dravino, af ananami tanino, chutz mimaliach yoshon, v'kulias hasiponin sha'adachosin zuhi gemar malachton. Shma mino. Yosef Rab Chia bar Abba Rabbi Asi kamed Rabbi Yochanan. The Gemara tells that these two sages, Rabbi Chia bar Abba and Rabbi Asi, were sitting before Rabbi Yochanan, the Rebbe. V'Yosef Rabbi Yochanan v'kamen namnim, and Rabbi Yochanan was sitting and he was falling asleep. Omar le Rav Chia bar Abba Rabbi Asi. Rabbi Chia bar Abba asked Rabbi Asi the following question: Mibnei ma oifoy shebebavel shmeinim. Why are the birds of Bavel fat? Omar le kalech lemidbar azo va'aracho shmoni mehem. Go to the midbar of Azza, and you'll see birds that are even fatter than them in Eretz Yisrael. He asked him further, why in Bavel during the Moadim, the Regolim, are they more sameach than those in Eretz Yisrael, those people in Eretz Yisrael? Why do they rejoice even more? He answered, because in Bavel they're anim, and as a result they can't get benefit from the eating and drinking that they do the rest of the year. Plus they're busy with their labor over the course of the year. Comes the regel, and they celebrate with more joy. Why is it that the Talmidei Chacham Mitzion here refers to, where do they wear clothing that is more fancy? Because he responded, because they're not of the same caliber. They're inferior to those in Eretz Yisrael in terms of their Torah learning, and therefore they have to then make themselves more mechubad with their clothing, as opposed to then gaining kavod as a result of their Torah. Why is it that the Ovdei Chachamim are mizuhami? Because they eat shkotzim v'remosim. They eat all types of creatures. Meanwhile, Itar Behu Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan woke up to these questions and answers. Omar Lehu, he said to his Talmidim, Dardiki, children, Lo kach amarti lachem, did I not say to you, Emor lechachma achoisiyat, the Pasuk says, I'll say to you, chachma, wisdom, you are my sister. Im boror lecha davar ka'achoischa, she'asur lecha, if it's clear to you, like your sister who is asur to you, if the hachachma is clear to you in such a way, just like your sister is asur to you, then amreu, then say it. Say the wisdom. Say the Torah. V'im lav, but if not, loy tamrei, then don't say the chachma. Amrulei, they said to their Rabbi Yochanan, v'lei malon mar ezemehen. May Rabbi Yochanan please then enlighten us and teach us these questions and these answers. Beginning with, why are the birds of Bavel more fat than the birds of Eretz Yisrael? He says, because the birds of Bavel did not go into Galus. Shenemar states, Sha'anan Moyav minu Urov, v'shoiket hu el Shmorov. The pasuk says that tranquility of Moyav from their youth and the silentness of the shmorim, of the sediments, comparing it to wine, the sediments go down and keep the flavor of the wine longer. Ubegola loy holach, and they did not go into gola. V'hocha minolan de golu, and here referring to Eretz Yisrael, what do we know that they went to Golus? The Tanya says, Rabbi Yehuda Oimer nun beis shana loy ovar ish be Yehuda. There was 52 years that an ish from Yehuda did not pass. Shneimar states al hehorim ese bechi v'nehi. On regards to the hills, there was wailing and crying. Me'of hashamayim v'ad behema nodidu halachu. And from the Of hashamayim and the behema who wandered and went about. Behema is begematria chamshim v'tartin havu. It's 52. So there's 52 years before the Beis Hamikdash then again was beginning to be rebuilt with the permission of Cyrus, of Koresh, right? Cyrus. And it says over here, and he added that all of the animals returned except for these types of fish. Hani Modri, the Bavel, these slopes of Bavel, Mahadre Maya La'ain Itam. They returned to the waters of Ain Itam. Vahai Kivan de Loy Shorir. Shidre lo matisali, because of these fish did not have strong backbones, they weren't able to then swim against the currents to then return. Why in Bavel are they more rejoiceful during the regalim than in Eretz Yisrael? They didn't have the same klala that was given to Eretz Yisrael. It states in the pasuk, "V'hishbati kol mesoisa," and I shall end all of the rejoicing. Hashem says, Chago, Chodsho, V'Shabboto, V'Kol Moadeh, all of the rejoicing of the Chagim, of the month, the Rosh Chodesh, the Shabbos. V'Ksiv, it says, Chodshechem u'moyadechem, Sina nafshi, Hayu alay letorach. Your months, rejoicing of your month, and your regalim, the emphasis is yours, you ate and drank, and filled up your stomachs for your own personal benefit, but not for rejoicing of the chagim together with me, then my soul was disgusting, Hashem said. Alay letorach. Ask the Gemara, my hayu alay letorach. What is the kavan of alay letorach? Rabbi Elazar, Kadosh Baruch Hu, like dayan li Yisrael shechoitim lefonai. It's not enough that they sinned before me. But they are matriach me to then see what is the gzeira that I will give them. So Kadosh Baruch Hu gave a klala to the Bnei Eretz Yisrael, whereby in regards to the Moadim, the Babylonian, the Bavalim were then more rejoiceful. Regards to then the klala in Eretz Yisrael, in regards to the regalim, there wasn't a regel that they didn't have a person from the army that came to then wreak havoc in Sipari. That came to the city of Tiberia in Eretz Yisrael. Egmon v'kamtoin ubal zmara, either a governor or a ruler, an official that would levy taxes on the regel. So you see, the klal of Eretz Yisrael during the regalim was something that caused a lack of the rejoicing as they did have in Bavel. Ask another question: why were they wearing clothing that were more fancy in Bavel than in Eretz Yisrael? Not because they were inferior in their Torah knowledge. Because they were not from there. They came to Bavel and they were not people who always lived there. So therefore they had to then make themselves a parent. That people say, in my own city, when people that know me, then my reputation is sufficient. But if I'm not in my own city, I'm in a foreign city, then I have to then become more known because of my garments, because of my clothing. And therefore the Babylonian wore their mitzuyonim in their clothing, but not because they were lacking in Torah knowledge. Haboim, the pasuk says, Haboim Yashresh Yaakov Yotzitzu Parch Yisrael. The ones from Yaakov came and they rooted themselves and they sprouted forth and flowered. It says over here, Tana Rev Yosef, to explain these words, Elu Talmidei Chacham shebeBavel. These are the great Torah scholars in Bavel. She'oisin tzitzin u'prachim laTorah. They explained the Torah with tzitzin and prachim, with flowers, and therefore they weren't inferior in their Torah knowledge. And that's not why they were wearing these fancier garments. It's only because they were in a place that they weren't known, and therefore then they had to identify themselves as being chashuv also because of their garments.